This is Julianne Condia, host of Rewritten. Thank you so much for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Baxter Colburn, host of Verse of the Day here on Public House Media. Thanks for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with that episode, I hope you'll come and check out my show, where I take one Bible verse every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I provide practical examples of what it can be in your life. We have guest speakers that join the program every Wednesday, and there's always something new to learn about your walk with Christ. You can stay up to date with Verse of the Day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or on publichousemedia.org. Thanks again for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Hello everyone, it's No Filter Friday on Public House Media, and it is going to be a short pre-tape show with oolong tea. I ordered a new microphone and it came in the mail today, so we're going to test it out and see if it's any better than using the one that I normally use. Because I think the audio from like doing the live show to doing the podcast is getting somehow skewed in between, because if I just watch the video on Facebook, just like everybody else does, if I watch it back just like any of you can, I don't hear anything. But in the podcast version, there seems to be some sort of schmiffling going on, which we're going to try to avoid. So hopefully my new lovely little microphones from Manawa? I don't even know it. See this. I usually use the newer ones. But anyway, so this is new. We'll see if it works out. If not, it doesn't. The reason I'm doing a short pre-tape show today is because I have two birthdays going on today. My goddaughter Adriana is turning 13 today, which is so crazy to me. I cannot believe it. It's insane. I can't believe she was born 13 years ago. It's so crazy to me. I'm not emotionally dealing well with it, if you can't tell. And then my friend's daughter is turning 1 today, so I have to go to her first birthday party, which is so exciting because I actually haven't seen her since she was in the hospital the day she was born because they moved away. So we're doing this annual see the baby thing. When she's fresh, year, 2 years, 3 years, it's going to be a thing. Any hoozles, let's get started on this because this came out, I think it came out today, I'm pretty sure. Our lovely Bill Cosby has been moved when on the 7th. Okay, this came out yesterday, but for whatever reason, it makes me laugh and I don't know why. So here it is. Bill Cosby has been moved to general population at his prison in Pennsylvania. Look at this. Bill Cosby, Dr. Huxtable, right there. Okay, so the story is that Bill Cosby's been moved to a general population unit as he serves 3 to 10 years in prison for sexual assault in Pennsylvania. The move last week comes after 81-year-old actor spent about 4 months in special housing as he acclimated to the SCI Phoenix in suburban Philadelphia. A state prison spokeswoman says Cosby has a single cell and is not on a ward for older inmates. Spokeswoman Amy Warden, that's kind of funny. She works in a prison and her last name is Warden. That's funny to me. Whatever. Says inmates there can spend several hours a day in the gym or exercise yard and other time in the library, class, or day room. She says the legally blind Cosby has inmates assigned to help him at times given his age and disability. Cosby is serving time for drugging and sexually assaulting a woman at his home in 2004. Okay. I just wanted to get that out of the way because I thought it was really interesting. So Dr. Huxtable's in general pop. And you know what? I would dare to venture to say that Bill Cosby's probably a hit in prison. Like, I'm pretty sure that everybody that's in prison with him is pretty stoked about it. And now that he's in general population, they can hang out with him and he can tell them jokes while they do arts and crafts or whatever it is that they do in that prison in Philadelphia. I thought it was interesting. We'll see how he does with his 3 to 10 year sentence. I don't think he's going to serve that much. I think once it gets up around the 3-year mark, like, he'll probably go before the parole board and that'll probably be it. Fun fact, fun statistic, because, Public House Media's, Black Sheep dark show, No Filter Friday. People that go to jail for sex crimes, spend on average less than 5 years in jail. So I think he'll probably get, especially with his age too, I think he'll get up to about 3 and then he'll get out on parole or whatever. Okay, so this article from the Hollywood Reporter came out on January 30th, but it's kind of a slow burn, much like a tire fire. There it is, Hollywood Reporter, and it came to my attention when, shout out to Melissa Silverstein of the Athena Film Festival, she tweeted it, and she tweeted this kind of like a little mini Twitter storm about what she thought about it. And after I did the last Bryan Singer episode that I did, things really picked up, in the Twitterverse of like what people were talking about. And a lot of people tweeted back to me like, or, they sent me messages like, follow the money. There's money. And Avi Lerner has basically confirmed that. So he released a statement basically, and then he had to backpedal. So this is the Hollywood Reporter's article on him backpedaling about what he said about Bryan Singer. So the headline is, Avi Lerner says he never read his controversial statement defending Bryan Singer, which it's his statement. I don't know what's going on with this basically. So the moral of the story is we're going to go through this and we're going to get down to it together. Because I think it's interesting, and it's like, for as many people that have backpedaled during, the time of Me Too, I think this is, although I'm not condoning it, from a PR standpoint, it's a pretty solid backpedal, considering the dumb things that people have said throughout this. The studio chief who called an expose accusing the director of raping teens fake news is clarifying his comments as Hollywood insiders wonder if stars will boycott the duo's upcoming Red Sonja project. We talked about Red Sonja project, the Red Sonja movie, on almost all the Bryan Singer episodes that I've done, because I've done a few, but we have talked about Red Sonja before. On January 24th, Millennium Film CEO Avi Lerner was driving from Las Vegas to Los Angeles when crisis PR guru Howard Bragman, remember that name because it comes up a lot, sent him a statement to sign off on regarding the controversial move to allow Bryan Singer to keep his job as the director of Studio's Red Sonja. If you're wondering what Millennium Films, it's kind of like a mini major. They do a lot of work with Sony and other places, but I mostly know them through Sony. Bragman has been working for both Singer and Millennium in the wake of explosive allegations pushed in The Atlantic that's Singer had raped teen boys. Lerner 71 says he's okay. He's okay the statement without reading it, and now tells the Hollywood Reporter that it came out the wrong way. Does that sound like an excuse to you? Because it doesn't sound like one to me. I would say that if people are waiting on pins and needles for your statement, you might want to read it. Just a thought. Just a thought. I mean, be like, hey Siri, hey Alexa, can you read this to me? Does he not have Siri or Alexa? Like, what is the problem? Anyway, back to the article. Now tells Hollywood Reporter that it came out the wrong way, and he called the Atlantic story agenda-driven fake news, while citing the $800 million and counting box office haul for Bryan Singer's Bohemian Rhapsody, and adding, I'm very comfortable with this decision. I think Avi Lerner's made it very, very clear that he's comfortable with his decision of keeping Bryan Singer as the director of Red Sonja. The backlash was immediate, with many interpreting the box office shout-out as a crass justification for sticking with someone facing serious allegations. The question now looms, will there be any fallout from Millennium? The company is one of the most prolific studios in town, producing more than 10 films a year, albeit largely shoot-'em-up action thrillers. Either way, Red Sonja is shaping up as a definitive moment in the post-#MeToo Hollywood and could set a precedent for those accused of sexual misdeeds but not facing criminal charges, as is the case with Singer. Just a reminder, Singer's problems with these people are mostly civil for now. That will probably change at some point. This will probably ramp up and ramp up and ramp up, just like Harvey Weinstein's and Bill Cosby's did. And then maybe one day we'll be reading the article where Bryan Singer has been moved to general population. Anyway, that's besides the point. By Lerner's account, there won't be fallout. Their Millennium has been inundated with angry calls and emails from the public. He says he has received zero negative feedback from the Hollywood community. Nobody called me, not from one agency, he said. I got support by the head of the studio to say, well done, Avi. You stand by what you believe, and people should be innocent until they are proven guilty. Nobody told me that they're not going to work with me. I don't think people so much, after this debacle, we'll see, but I don't think people are so much worried about like working with Millennium. I don't think anybody really cares about that. I think they care about working directly under Bryan Singer as a director. That's what I think, especially in the wake of his little firing, disappearing from set thing that he had on Bohemian Rhapsody. But we'll get to that later because that comes up later. Perhaps it's not surprising that given Singer's last film, the Queen biopic Bohemian Rhapsody, has mostly weathered any repercussions from Singer's alleged behavior, or even a well-publicized lawsuit filed in 2017 by Cesar Sanchez Guzman that claims Singer raped him aboard a yacht in Seattle in 2003 when he was 17. Singer has denied all claims of sexual assault. Bohemian earned 5 Oscar noms, including Best Picture, and star Rami Malek won the Best Actor SAG Award on January 27th, putting him in the favorite position for the Oscar honors. Most of the time, if you win the Guild Award, if you win the Oscar, or you win the SAG Award, you win the Oscar. It'd be like an upset in sports if you won a SAG Award and then didn't win an Oscar. It's possible, but it would be an upset. Even though Singer, 53, was fired from the film after going AWOL on set, he remains a credited director. The fact that he's still credited doesn't surprise me. The fact that he went AWOL and was fired surprises me. Two knowledgeable sources say Singer has not received any back-end yet, but his final payday is expected to exceed the $40 million range. However, the studio is exploring its legal options in terms of financial obligations. In general, just like anybody else, they'll take whatever excuse they can to put his back-end points back into their pool, which will not be for moral reasons. It will be for lining their pocket reasons, but whatever. Among the negative ramifications, GLAAD removed the Queen biopic from its nominees, and Time's Up released a statement saying, those who hire abusers perpetuate a broken system that rewards powerful people and allows them to act without consequence. I think one of the reasons that he's still on board for Red Sonja is that it's like a female-driven kind of a thing, and he's gay, so maybe nobody will have any problems. But to me, his little AWOL problem on Bohemian Rhapsody would be a major issue. Like, I'm going to pay you $10 million that you might go AWOL? No, there's lots of other people that can do this job that won't do that, or at least haven't done that. Where are we? This article is so tiny, it's so hard to read. Hollywood Reporter. Hollywood Reporter reached out to a wide swath of representatives, producers, and talent to gauge if Millennium would suffer any consequences for keeping Singer in the Red Sonja fold. No one wanted to be quoted, as usual, which happens to me all the time when I talk to people like, don't quote me, or I don't know, or blah, 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 or, they just hit block, whatever. And it's a problem that we have in this business. Like, we need to stop doing that. Like, if somebody's going to talk, you're going to say something, you might as well say something. But if not, there's always me. So anyway, without further ado. But even with the veil of anonymity, no one said he or she would stop working with Lerner. Again, I mentioned this. I don't think that's that big of a deal. A few agents and managers said they would balk at putting a client in Red Sonja. The fact that he's making a movie so quickly after the allegations became public feels wrong, says a founder at the top management company. Hang on, Steven's texting me. Okay. If a manager here came to me and told me that they were doing it, I'd have a problem. Others noted it would depend on the client and the role in the film. One lawyer with an A-list roster predicted no real issues with Red Sonja moving forward. Avi will be able to put from the director of Bohemian Rhapsody on his one sheet. That's all that matters, says the lawyer says. However, an Oscar-winning producer who has worked with Singer in the past predicts, I don't think any domestic distributor will jump on it right now. And that's another thing that makes me wonder is like, okay, like you can make it, that's great. But that doesn't mean you're going to be able to put it out or where you're going to be able to put it out. And then furthermore, it makes me wonder because we all use this like algorithm around town, right? We use this algorithm and you punch in, the names and the dates and the blah, 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 blah for everybody involved. And you come out with a dollar amount. That's the way that they do it. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. That's just the way that they do it. We don't make the rules, obviously. But I don't know that this algorithm takes in account things like this. Like, yeah, it will have Bryan Singer's paper value for the past, 20 years. But that doesn't necessarily mean it can factor in like public backlash. So I don't know if being able to put from the director of Bohemian Rhapsody on your one sheet is like maybe not the best thing ever. I think if he wants a job, he should probably just do it under another name or something, but whatever, they're going with it. Any hoozles. Back to this. Most agree that casting the film with big enough names to justify the $70 to $80 million budget and Singer's payday of up to $10 million will prove to be the trickiest task for Lerner. The female-empowered Red Sonja is expected to begin shooting in Bulgaria in the spring. People are going to shoot in Eastern Europe now. It's kind of a thing. But Eastern Europe's happy to have them, so why not? Lerner, who famously hired Mel Gibson for Expendables 3 when no one else would touch the star, is facing heightened scrutiny. Journalists are pointing to a lawsuit filed in 2017 in which a former female employee claimed she was subjected to a discriminatory, harassing, and misogynistic work environment hostile to the female employees. The suit was settled last fall. Which brings me to another point. Speaking of settlements and insurance, with this AWOL situation is like, what's the insurance going to be like on Bryan Singer? Because I can tell you right now that they've deemed people uninsurable for far less indiscretions than that. But I don't know, maybe there's some little weird loophole. Maybe they have, I have an insurance hookup. Maybe they do too. Also picking up momentum is claim made by actor Terry Crews, who testified before the Senate Judiciary Committee that Lerner called his manager and threatened that if the actor didn't drop his civil suit against former William Morris Endeavor agent Adam Bennett, he would be let go from Expendables 4. This is a quote. I swear in the name of my children and my parents, I called him and said, can we make some kind of peace between you and Adam? Because we're going to work together with Stallone, and Sylvester Stallone is repped by Adam, and I want everything to be happy. That was the direct quote. Lerner says, he didn't call me back. The next thing I see in the newspaper is, quote, Avi Lerner tries to silence me and threatening that I will not put him in Expendables 4. I want him to be in Expendables 4. Crews did not respond to a request for comment about the incident. I'm sure around Red Sonja, Terry Crews will come back with a clarification, much like Avi Lerner is supposedly clarifying. As for Singer, Lerner insists that he is conducting his own investigation into the claims, which date back decades. I've got a reason why I doubt that he has done it, he says. Let's read that again. As for Singer, Lerner insists that he is conducting his own investigation into the claims which date back decades. I have got a reason why I doubt he has done it. Decades of accusations. Interesting. Okay, Avi Lerner. A source says Millennium co-president Jonathan Younger is close friends with Singer outside of work and has vouched for the director's behavior over the past 10 years. Though Lerner admits his earlier Singer statement was mishandled, he isn't backing down either. I don't want to apologize. I just want to clarify the statement, Lerner says, noting that English is his second language. I think victims should be heard and this allegation should be taken very, very seriously. I just don't agree to judge by Twitter. I want the accused to be judged by the court. Which is fair. That's fair, but if I was an EP of any fashion, let alone the head of a studio, I would have a short list for backup directors. Because you don't know what's going to happen between now and then. You don't know who's going to come out of the woodwork. You don't know what the Atlantic's going to uncover. Look what they've uncovered on everybody else. Or the LA Times. Worked for Brett Ratner. Why hasn't it worked for Bryan Singer? Couldn't tell you. But it's a funny thing. Like, my main takeaway from that article is, like, I really don't think putting from the director of Bohemian Rhapsody on any of your P&A is going to be a good idea for Red Sonja. I think if he quietly directed it and, I don't know, maybe used another name or, I don't know, something. It would be a better move than sucking up all the situations that happened out of Bohemian Rhapsody and then just spitting it onto Red Sonja. I don't think it's a good deal. If it was up to me, I would not be doing it. And, you know, if he doesn't want to go through with actually firing him until, you know, the courts have made a decision or, you know, real hard evidence has been presented publicly, I totally get that. But if it was me, I'd have backups. I've had a list of backups. I would have a really good B unit director, in place. That way, if the hammer falls and if the other shoe drops, you can just go, done, plug and play, and Millennium or nobody else that's working on this movie, for that matter, is affected by it in any way, shape, or form. So, with that being said, I will see you all next week when I don't have other birthdays to go to, and it will be super, super, super fun. Check out other shows on Public House Media, like Coffee with Keith and Katie, and Crowned and Dangerous, and The Cheap Seats, and Verse of the Day, and Choose to Rise, and all these other fun shows that are way more uplifting than my little quick and dirty show back here. So I will see you all later. I will see you all next week. Same time, same place. Later, y'all.